CCIW champs, back-to-back years. A 49-7 win over Elmhurst wraps up the season. 9-1 for the Cardinals, who go into the playoffs and face St. John's. Head coach Jeff Thorne is on to talk about that, and we have a couple of defensive linemen to join me as well. I'm Kevin Jackman, and this is the Red Zone.
The presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is ATHLETICO, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Welcome into the Red Zone. Head coach of the football team, Jeff Thorne, is on, and you close out the regular season with a dominant, impressive win. Nice to close out the season that way. Now you're 9-1.
Yeah, you know, both sides of the ball, first half in particular, played exceptionally well. Got off to a 21-point lead within about 6 minutes. So in terms of starting fast, I don't know how much faster you can start. Offensive line continues to play really at a high level, and it was great to see our defense got 18 tackles for loss in the game. It was really, really fun to watch.
I want to talk about the defense first. You just mentioned that set, 18 tackles for loss. DJ alone had 6.
Yeah.
That's a normal, maybe a season stat for some guys.
Right.
It's impressive. How do you get after a team like that?
You know, just our game plan, what Coach Murray put together and the defensive staff put a great game plan together and figured out some of the weaknesses and areas that we thought we could attack and took advantage of it. And DJ really has played well all year long. He's really taking it to another level here these last few weeks. And he's a heck of a player. and for those efforts, he was CCIW Player of the Week. Then he made the D3Football.com Team of the Week along with Ben Wong for special teams. And was recognized as an all-conference player yesterday. So I'm really pleased for him. It's fun.
It really is. I had my nose in the record book for a different reason, but I've noticed that DJ might have a chance to break the school's all-time career tackle for loss record. That's held by Ben Hare.
Wouldn't shock me. He had a ton of them last year too, and he's at like 19 and a half this year. So it's been a great year for him. Last year, he was in and out of the lineup, sharing time with Justin Sturzma and Tommy. They were kind of a three-man rotation, and he played so well. It was really, in large part, why we made the move that we did to get DJ on the field more because he's so productive.
Offensively, and this is why I was in the record book, Austin Brunig.
Yeah,
we've talked about him every single week. Yeah, 5 rushing touchdowns. That's a record. All-purpose yards in a single season. That's a record. I could just keep going on and on. Yeah, special guy.
Six records in 2 weeks. You know, 3 were single game records against Carthage, and you know, in hindsight, had I known this, I might have given him another carry or two. But he had 264 yards. The conference single game record was 272, and he didn't play most of the fourth quarter. So his season has just been absolutely eye-popping as a ball carrier, also as a pass receiver. And we've talked about what he does in pass protection and everything else. He really is such an important piece of our team. It's been really, really neat to see him have this kind of a season as a senior.
Yeah. Dom Sulo, Nick Kukoc, Steve Holden. Those are the only 3 other running backs that have topped 3,000 career rushing yards. What does it mean to be in that kind of company?
Well, those 3 guys that's like the holy grail of North Central running backs in terms of the Thorne era. Mike Jakovich held all kinds of records back 20, 30 years ago and was a great player. But just these last 15, 16 years, those 3 are just phenomenal football players. Ryan Kent was a great player, just didn't get quite as many carries. But we've had some really good running backs, and Austin is putting himself right in the middle of that conversation as one of the best backs we've ever had. You
mentioned Jakovich. He's the only other running back to ever win the Art Keller from North Central. That's what Austin just pulled down, the Offensive Player of the Year. The offensive line told me a few weeks ago that was their goal, to get him the Offensive Player of the Year. How happy were they that he pulled that down?
I think they're really excited. You know, it's something that's it's an award. It's a team award. You know, Brock winning it last year, that was a team award. He did some great things. Austin's done some great things, but Brock couldn't have done what he did last year without our offensive line protecting him, our receivers catching passes. And the same thing can be said about Austin this year. Without those holes the offensive line have created, without a quarterback that forces the defense to defend the pass. It just all fits together. So really it was neat to see the whole team, how excited they were for Austin when the announcement was made. They went crazy.
Brock, we haven't even talked about this in this game. 1 incompletion, 11 of 12. Is it just me, or is the offense seeming to hit its stride at the right time of the year?
I think so. You know, Brock's play has been fantastic. This stretch of games that Austin's been off the charts, Brock's been really good too, but Austin's been so good, you don't talk much about it. But his efficiency, again, to run the ball the way we are, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Teams have to spread their defense out to respect our pass game. Brock understands football, and when he sees things, he's not always making checks to throw the ball. He's making checks because he sees a weakness in their run defense, and we're running the ball into their weakness. So there's so many layers that go into it. We've got a special group of guys this year, not just offense, not just defense. Our team is truly that. It's a team. They're fighting for each other. They believe in each other, and that's what you have to really go deep in these playoffs.
This is the last thing I want to get to. 14 players named to the All-CCIW teams. That number is pretty staggering, and that kind of speaks to the level that represented on every phase of the game. Is that something you guys talked about this week?
Not a whole lot. It wasn't totally shocking to see that, given the success that we've had this year and in years past. 4 offensive linemen. That was really neat to see, because that was a much maligned position group a year ago. They were challenged. You know, we really were hard on them last year because we just weren't running the ball the way that we're accustomed to. And I've made reference to it on, you know, in weeks past about the resiliency that they've shown and the perseverance to continue working and just keep getting better every day. And here we are a year later, and 4 of them are named all-conference. And that's really, really rewarding and satisfying to see as a coach.
Speaking of rewarding, back-to-back CCIW champs. It's hard to do.
It is in this conference. Very hard. Very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah.
I want to go back. We're going to check the tape from this game, and then we'll move forward. Playoffs are right around the corner. We got St. John's coming up. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on the Red Zone. Welcome back, and now it's time to check the tape.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by M&M Rentals.
All right, Coach, we do have field level stuff, but I know that you guys have watched these plays and you've broken them all down. But how about this throw from Brock Rudder? Michael Svikas comes across and he just puts it beautifully in a pocket. Yeah,
a little crossing scissors route right there, and Brock, you know, times it up and sees the coverage as it's developing and knows that Michael's coming open on that post route there and puts it right on him. So timing was pretty good there, and got a catch and a big gain.
Now, I kind of remember, I think this might have been our first year together on the show, you said that quarterbacks require different levels of throwing. You can throw it hard, straight, you can also put some loft on it. That throw seemed to have a little bit of both on it. Is that a difficult high-level throw?
Well, yeah, because that ball's got to climb. It's got to have some steam on it when it's in the middle of the field. If you don't put some juice on it, your receiver's going to get hit really hard, or the ball's going to get intercepted. So we talk about level 1, level 2, level 3, and you know there's 2.5, and there's drills we do to work on those throws. But Brock's got all those throws in his repertoire, which is why he's such a high-level quarterback.
Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and we obviously mentioned this: 18 tackles for loss. I don't know who got credit for this. Andrew Kray was in on this, Taha Ione and Tommy Sora, but you just strung him out, and what else do you see here? You know, there's sprint out there, so our coverage had to be really good. He had no place to go with the football, and Tommy was really in quarterback contain there. You see him, he's kind of slow to go there, shadowing the quarterback, and then Andrew and Taha come in, and Tommy closes in. So, again, there's a tackle for loss, but there's more to it there than just your defensive line and linebacker. We were covering really well. And then Tommy Sora, we'll get right back to this guy. But he's the recipient of this nice play from Billy Dowds, who rips off the end. Great job by Billy beating the offensive tackle, winning the edge and getting to the quarterback, knocking the ball loose, and Tommy gets a scoop and score. Pretty cool on his last regular season game as a senior. Billy, on this particular play, I mean, when he makes an impact in a game, it seems like he makes an impact in a game. These are the kind of plays where in the playoffs that could change your momentum. We're
going to need that, and I think Billy's at a place right now where he's prepared and ready to start making a lot of plays just like that. He's been getting better and better and better as the season's progressed, so I'm excited to see that Billy Dowds over the course of the playoffs, hopefully for several weeks. We need it Saturday.
Let's get to Saturday. St. John's, that is a tough matchup. This is a good football team that's going to be coming into Benedetti Worley Stadium. What have you seen so far? You're probably only a few days into prep.
Great football team. Yeah. Ranked 6th in the country by D3Football.com. They're the winningest program in Division III football history, so there's tons of tradition there. The most important award in Division III football, the Gagliardi Trophy, is named after their great coach, John Gagliardi. So it is really a neat opportunity for our guys to play a team of that stature. Yeah. Great defense. I think they're second nationally in scoring, second nationally in total defense, and the rush defense is somewhere around 10th or 12th. So we've got a great challenge for us on offense. Their offense has a quarterback that started his career at Penn State, big 6'4", big arm. They've got skill position guys, and they can run it and throw it. So we really have a great challenge in front of us. We know what kind of team we're in store for.
Is this maybe the best team that you've seen first round in the last 15 years?
Yeah, I would say yeah. I mean, Capital back in 05 was a good team, but they weren't ranked as highly as St. John's is. So I think without question this is a really high-end first-round game. Yeah, you know,
highly anticipated. What are you telling your team in front of a matchup like this?
It's just another football game, quite honestly. I mean, we got to approach it the same way. If you get too high for a game and get too amped up, sometimes you don't play your best football. It's another football game. It's a really good team that we're facing. So we've got to be sound in blocking and tackling. You know, you tell them you work on the same things. I think ball security becomes more important at this time of year, and special teams become more important because field position flips with either one of those scenarios going the wrong way on you. So ball security and really special teams play will be critical.
How about the environment? Benedetti Worley Stadium, this is the advantage you have of being at home for the first round in a matchup like this. Does that come into play? Do you guys kind of sense the energy in the building when it kind of builds up?
You know, I hope we have a great crowd. I think St. John's will probably travel well. It is 8 hours, but they've got a huge following. You know, I'd love to see an atmosphere like we had in 2010 when Whitewater was in town for the quarterfinals. That was amazing. So if the Naperville community wants to come out, it'll be a really good football game on Saturday.
We'll get you out of here on this. Your quick hit. Least favorite chore to do at home?
Well, there's a couple, and my wife would probably have a longer list than me. But I would say folding laundry would be at the top, and then pool chores. Working on the pool in the back is demanding.
It's the nice thing about winter.
It is the nice thing about winter. That thing's covered up. Yeah. So in the wintertime, definitely.
There you go.
Folding laundry.
Coach, thanks for swinging by, and good luck against St. John's.
Thanks, Kevin.
Coming up next, we'll have a couple of defensive linemen joining me on set. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
This might be less of a play of the game and more of a overall play of the season. But how about Austin Bruning? 5 rushing touchdowns, including this one against Elmhurst. That's a single game record. Second straight week with 5 total touchdowns. And he even gets the CCIW's Offensive Player of the Year award. He earned it. Over 1,600 all-purpose yards and 19 touchdowns. And for that, he gets the Red Zone's play of the game.
Welcome back into the Red Zone. Josh Leonhard, Andrew Kray are on set. Welcome, guys. First time on set.
And this is having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This is coming off a crazy game. 18 tackles for a loss. Andrew, we'll go to you first. Have you ever been a part of a game where you get into the backfield as often as you did against Elmhurst?
No, it was crazy. It was a crazy stat. I remember Coach Murray telling us on the bus, and we were all just kind of like shocked. Like it's kind of an unbelievable number.
In the moment, did you feel like you guys were kind of reestablishing the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I think, you know, as the game progressed on, especially at halftime, you know, we could tell that, you know, we're controlling this game.
And then, I mean, for Josh, defensive ends typically get after the quarterback. I think 7 sacks in this game as well. When you prepare for a game like this and then you execute as well as you do, what do you walk away? How do you feel walking away from a game like that?
We feel great as a unit. Coach Janicek's happy, so when he's happy, we're usually happy, vice versa. But it really takes everybody playing together.
Yeah.
So seeing the results makes you feel good that the practice is paying off.
Billy comes up with that strip sack, falls into the arms of Tommy, goes into the end zone, touchdown. You guys were going bonkers. Was that just a fun moment? Was that Tommy's first career touchdown, or?
I think it was. I'm not sure though. But I wasn't on the field at that point, but everybody was. It happened. I saw it happen. We all going crazy on the sidelines, and then everybody partying in the end zone. It was a great feeling.
It's always great when the defense gets to have a little taste of the end zone, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I got to ask, because I'm actually curious, what is the difference between being a defensive tackle? Because you're more of a defensive tackle and a defensive end. What are your jobs different?
We take on double teams. Like, that's kind of our forte. Is just we take on more than one guy all the time, so they could get the one-on-one matchup.
So you get the dirty job.
The dirty work. I take one for the team in that aspect.
Do you guys usually give him a pat on the back when you get to the quarterback?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, if one person gets a sack, it means the other 3 were taking up other guys. So
yeah. And those linebackers are now getting involved as well. How fun is it having DJ? Especially, we'll get to Tommy in a second, but DJ working around and getting into the backfield as well. Is that fun?
It's actually amazing. I mean, I've watched film and like just seeing, like, I mean, I'll see myself taking on a double team and I'll see him slide through an open hole, and it's almost crazy how low he could get to the ground.
He's a different kind of animal with the way that he brings people down.
Yeah, for sure.
It's something you don't normally see. He almost like rolls them.
Yeah, he's definitely a very good tackler. I don't really know how he does it, but I mean,
I don't think many people do.
No, I mean, it looks cool and it gets the job done. So.
And then Tommy, let's get to Tommy Sora, preseason All-American. You know, he's one of the best linebackers in the conference, if not the country. How fun is it to play with that guy?
It's definitely fun because he runs the offense. If we don't know what to do on the D-line, he tells us where to go, and he brings a lot of natural passion, and those guys are always fun to be around. Same with DJ.
Yeah.
They have a lot of natural passion, and the 2 spots in the middle linebacker, if you have guys like that, then it's hard not to succeed when they're that good.
What's the communication like on the field? Like, where it comes in from the sideline, but then from Tommy, where does he kind of go back and forth between the secondary and you guys? Or?
When Tommy's on the field, it's almost instantly. He already knows what play they're going to run, where we should be. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. That's fun to be in. This year, you guys have seemed to steadily progress over the course of the year. Have you felt that, like, as the unit has gone along and gotten more solidified?
Yeah, and I think that's more so just because, like I said earlier, we're never satisfied. You know, we could have a good game, but we could always have a better game. And I think that's shown throughout the course of the year. Everyone on the D-line especially just progressed more and more, and that just helps the linebackers get better, and then if the coverage is good, it helps us get better.
You feel like you're peaking at the right time going into the playoffs?
Absolutely. I think personally and as a unit, and then also as a team, everybody bought in to one goal, one mindset. It's not about individual stats or whatever that may be, but we have one goal. We want to make a run in the playoffs, and we just got to take it one game at a time. And if everybody does their job, we come together, and the end result is always better than worried about yourself.
Let's go to the quick hits. You guys ready for these?
Yeah.
All right. First one we'll go to is your least favorite chore at home. We'll go to Andrew for this one first.
Definitely cutting the grass. Absolutely the worst chore.
Big lawn or just
we have a corner lot back home, so it was the worst.
Josh?
I absolutely hate touching toilets or anything in the bathroom.
Yes.
So I actually have a house on campus now, and I tell my roommates, clean the bathroom, and I will do everything else. I'm a big vacuum guy. So.
I'm right there with you.
It's gross.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go to this one. This one's fun. We'll debate this. GIF or GIF? How do you say it?
Definitely GIF.
GIF.
I'm a GIF guy.
You're GIF. So here's the debate. It sounds like GIF, and I think I say GIF more often than not, but the guy who created it said it's... No, the guy who created it said it's GIF, but it's called Graphic Interchange Format, so it should be G. I don't know.
I think when I see G, I go G.
G.
But then if you look at stuff like the state of Georgia, You said
I didn't really know it was a debate, honestly. I just kind of was like, oh, that's Jeff.
I think it's a lowercase g at times when you see it, so I don't know. Naturally, I assumed it was GIF.
Somebody said that when they hear GIF, they think of the peanut butter instead of the, I don't know.
I guess that makes sense.
Kind of
weird
funny.
word.
Yeah. Last thing, we'll get, hopefully we won't make you guys too hungry, but Thanksgiving dinner's coming up. What's your favorite dish? We'll go to Josh first.
I like to make little sandwiches out of the bread and croissants with the turkey, mashed potatoes, a little gravy, fold that up, and it's a great combination.
Go to town. That's perfect. Andrew?
My mom makes this stuff. It's called corn casserole. It's like corn and kind of mixed with like cornbread.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I don't think my family likes it very much, but I love it. So she makes like a whole dish for me. So
you are scoring major brownie points with your mom right now. Guys, thanks for hopping on, and good luck against St. John's.
Thank you for having us.
Coming up, we'll take a break. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
The following is a preview of our feature celebrating 10 years of the Red Zone.
Now it's time for the program to take its next step. It's also time to premiere the Red Zone. So before the Cardinals could embark on the 2008 campaign, a quick timeout and huddle at Naperville Community Television.
Probably I was a little nervous about what it might be, and I want to tell you, every single year, this program has been so good at looking for the positive, not being afraid to report the positive, talking about the good things that are happening in college lives and in football players and so forth. I couldn't be more thrilled.
Getting to the premiere takes a special partnership between the Division III athletic institution and the community television station. At the time, and still to this day, the pairing is unique. The man tasked with hosting the groundbreaking show, Jeff Mahoney.
There had been a proposal put together, and shortly after I had gotten hired, the question was, is this something that we think would work? And my response was, well, they were coming off 2 or 3 straight, conference championships in football, and I said, well, if it's not going to work with this program at this time, then it won't work at all.
I remember Jeff coming and talking to us about this thing called the Red Zone and everything. I had no idea what he was even talking about. And the college evidently decided that this might be a good thing and so forth.
With an unending supply of energy and passion for football, Mahoney welcomes Coach Thorne on set for the very first time.
Welcome, sports fans, to the Red Zone, where we take an in-depth look into the North Central College football team. I'm joined by the coach of the Cardinals, John Thorne. John, it's a pleasure to be hosting the show with you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
Join us for the full 10 years of the Red Zone on November 30th at 8 o'clock.
We're back with a busy guy. Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher's here. Busy end of the season. Not only is it football playoffs, but in the first thing we're going to get to, national for the cross-country team, and they've just gone wire to wire as the top team in the poll.
Yeah, they finished every single coaches poll this year. They were the unanimous #1 choice, which we're fairly confident is the first time it's been done for that particular poll in the roughly 10 or 11 year history that they've had it. Certainly well deserved. Every meet that they've gone to with the full varsity squad, they've won going away, including a regional last week that saw, it was a 36-team event. You win by 47 points over who at the time, Wisconsin lacrosse, was ranked 2nd in the country going into that meet. So to be able to put that many guys in front of their top couple of guys, it certainly was the kind of a statement they were looking to make, and hopefully they can repeat that coming up on Saturday.
Speaking of high standards, both the men's and women's basketball teams are having high hopes for the season. Let's start with the men's team that is supposed to be one of the top teams in the conference, if not the country. What's the feeling surrounding this team right now in Murner Fieldhouse?
Well, I think if you ask the coaching staff, they've brought in a large group of incoming players. At least a handful of those guys are going to be asked to contribute at some point. So getting all those guys on the same page in terms of the defense the team runs, the plays they're running on the offensive side of the ball, a lot of teaching going on in those first couple of weeks of practice to try and get some of the incoming guys on the same level as a large group of returning guys who all know what they're doing. So, there's going to be, they're going to try out some different combinations of individuals in these first few games that they may not stick with for the whole season. It's just a matter of figuring out which combinations are going to work best in an actual game. They got a good chance to get in front of a home crowd last week with the exhibition games against Concordia, Wisconsin. Saw some things that they liked, some things that they needed to improve on. They're going to be up against a Heidelberg team on Saturday that likes to get up and down the floor, so there's going to be some pressure to get out and move and take care of the ball. But I think that'll be a good test for a team that should be able to score a lot of points this year with a lot of shooters on the perimeter.
Wow, you talk about making a lot of baskets and scoring a lot of points. The women's team, they've changed the way they've played, but they're still expected to put up points and drops.
Yeah, they're still going to press, they're still going to trap, they're still going to try and get up and down and score in advantage situations. But they're going to kind of condense that down and try and limit the amount of substitutions that they've been doing lately. Not quite as much of the hockey-style 5-on-5 substitutions in an effort to keep the better players on the floor and let them make all the decisions. But it's definitely about putting pressure on the opponent, to make them make the plays to beat them. So we're going to see a lot of action there. It's just going to look a little different.
Wrestling, we're excited because the season's up and running, and they look pretty good, don't they? Yeah, they went to a tournament at Trine University in Indiana on Saturday and wound up winning the entire event. They go over there because the entries are unlimited and they can pretty much wrestle the entire team. And that's kind of how they won, because we only had one individual champion, which was Ben Williamson at 149, which we expect. He's a returning national qualifier, but we had several, second, third, and fourth place finishes, and that's what ended up putting them over the top. First round matchup is a doozy. St. John's. That's no slouch in the first round. Usually, and one of the players, I think Josh said it, usually you get a lower seeded team in the first round that you can kind of get your feet wet with. This is not going to be the case with St. John's.
Well, this happens sometimes because of where St. John's is up north of the Twin Cities, and the mileage restrictions that the NCAA has on how far you have to be away to fly to your game, and they try to restrict the number of flights that they end up having to put people on in the first round. There were only a certain number of teams that they could play, and we are just inside that mileage limit. Where you go from driving to flying. So, there really weren't very many ways for them to go here in the first round, at least. So, every once in a while this happens. It tends to happen more often in the south and west regions where the teams are further apart. But I think from the moment of the announcement, our players have been excited about it. Our coaches are certainly excited about it. Are eager for a chance to prove themselves against an established, national, power team. They won a national title in 2003, I believe. So I think they're definitely excited about it. They turn the lights up, and you got a big stage, and a lot of people are going to be watching. So it's definitely an exciting time.
Let's get you out of here on this quick hit. What's your least favorite chore to do around the house?
Well, growing up, I grew up on a pig farm in Indiana, and so the worst chore was any one of them that involved manure. The chief appeal of working in sports information is I don't encounter manure on quite as regular a basis as I would have on the farm.
I would hope so.
So that's generally that was a big motivator to get an education and find a job in an office. To get yourself away from the steaming piles of manure that you encounter on a pig farm.
Be a really bad day around the office if you had a flashback.
That's when you know it's time to find another gig.
Clark, thanks for swinging by, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
That's it for the show. Playoff time is here, though, and St. John's visits Benedetti Worley Stadium on Saturday. Noon kickoff, 11:45 pregame right here on NCTV 17. I'm Kevin Jackman. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Red Zone.